And good afternoon. Welcome in to the show. Thanks to the folks already checking in over there, including Papa B, Huffer Billy Paul, Elijah, Big Barney Ross, Jay, wanting to know if you guys can see the hairless gerbils. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We're not getting those into the mix. It's already unplugged my headset. That's kind of how the day's going. Anyway, hello, Brock. Second GA Doug says, go dogs. Yep. Seth, welcome in. Jim is in Carolina Beach. Welcome to the show, sir. Anyway, good to see y'all. Stephen A., good to see you too. All right, so I got some stuff I want to go over today. Tomorrow is National Signing Day, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. How it's important, why it's not. Jackpot's Toilet joins the show. Holy shit. By the way, Jackpot is not here, but he is here virtually.
What's going on, motherfuckers?
There you go. Virtual Jackpot joins the show today. So yeah, technically, you got Jackpot here, and he'll say things and then he'll feel bad about it.
And I said something on here I didn't mean to.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be back at it together tomorrow night on the Rob and Kale show. I'm trying to meet up with what's the guy's name? The big Tennessee guy that's not the talking dolls. That's what we should call him, as the talking dolls. Fools done blocked Carolina Jackpot from their program after they ran their mouth at him. Anyway, I'm supposed to do. Oh, thank you, Seth. Yeah, this is my Christmas hat. Who is it that BVD. Yeah, I'm supposed to do a show with him. There you go, Jay. Jay's right on top there. Apparently, he asked me to do a show with him. I tried to get up with him. Apparently, Jackpot forgot to ask me about it, so he thinks that I hate him. That's not the way that it is. I don't really have any hate towards anyone. But, yeah, some interesting stuff there. I don't know what he's going to ask me about. I was watching the show with him and Jackpot, and they were talking about everything from Jackpot's toenails to vacuum cleaners. So, but happy to do the show with him. He's been doing this for a long time, so it'd be kind of cool to go with him, do a show with him. And, of course, Tennessee will be playing your team, America's team, the mighty Clemson Tigers. And we could talk about that game. Elijah says, two sides to every story, Rob. It's not a trash talk channel. People coming to the channel being dumb, they're going to get blocked. I understand that you have to hit your knees and do whatever it is for the talking balls thing. Completely understand that, Elijah. All I know is that the side I'm going to take is the side of my podcast partner in the upstate, who is kind to just about everyone when he goes on to any show, whether there's 40,000 followers or 10 followers. I seen the exchange of what Jackpot said to them, and they rolled over like bitches. So to hell with that show. They don't have to be rude to him and then talk bad about him and then block him. That's insane. So, but for some reason, I don't know what that show's done to everybody. It's like, this is like the show of all shows. I've seen better Tennessee shows out there. I've seen a lot better Tennessee shows that are out there. So, Rocky Dog is right. They talk trash, but nobody else can. In their mind, they live in a vacuum. The Tennessee Vols invented football, and no one else matters. And that's the shits. That doesn't work. Doesn't work anywhere. So here's the thing. I don't care if they were a Georgia podcast, Clemson podcast, whatever. Here's the big thing with that. They shouldn't have been rude to my buddy in the upstate. So fuck them till the end of time. We've got the cut and clip of what they did. There is no two sides to it. He gave them money. They mocked him before the show, then told him to come back before the game, then told him to come back after the game. When he came back after the game, after Carolina wiped their ass with him, then they didn't want him on the show. They didn't want to be manly about it and say, you know what, we got our dicks kicked in. Let this guy come in. Jackpot would have said his 15 seconds piece and just, hey, we sure as hell beat you guys today. It would have been something simple, and then he would have went on. And those guys were scared to death of what the bald man in the upstate was going to say to them. But anyway, it's insane. Randall, I'll have to pull it, but I will see there. I can show you where they blocked him. And my issue is not with you, Elijah. It's with them. It's with that one host who is an absolute coward. He knows who we are. We've invited him on the show. He can come over and spiel his piece, but he won't do that. He won't do it because he doesn't live in the vacuum over here where it's all Tennessee Vols all the time. He doesn't have that here. Okay? So anyway, that wasn't really what I wanted to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about today was, first of all, National Signing Day is tomorrow. There's going to be a ton of folks that are going to be talking about, oh, this class this and that class that. Hey, you know what? I'm going to break it down really, really simple for you. Tomorrow is National Signing Day. And yes, having a top flight class does matter. But in the end, it doesn't. You want to know why? Because all those guys can leave your program in a matter of seconds. We've seen that with the transfer portal this year. All right. So, yeah, signing those guys, all of that's important. The good coaching staffs are going to be the coaching staffs that can help their roster with these young guys, but going into the transfer portal and getting players to come and join their program, but then getting players to stay there. That's going to be the big thing. So with that, even though I'm normally the Clemson guy on this program, you have to give Shane Beamer a lot of credit for one thing. I don't know what he said to Spencer Rattler, or if Spencer Rattler is just getting bad advice from someone, but the vibe that we got from Spencer Rattler in the comments he made, 2 days ago, is that, hey, he's going to come back and play this bowl game. Why in God's name are you coming back to play this bowl game? And he said it's for Shane Beamer. Now, he may end up getting and be fine, or he may have you never know with any of that. But a couple of things that came to the forefront. First of all, Luke Doty said he's coming back next season. So he will be there with the Gamecocks. I think that if Luke Doty didn't think he was going to have a shot to be the quarterback next year, I don't know if he'd be there or not. And DeCarrion Joyner hasn't made up his mind on whether or not he's going to stay or go. But here's the thing on that bowl game. You ever notice Notre Dame doesn't really win bowl games? I mean, they're like a Big Ten team once it comes to January. They don't do very well. And I say that because, we picked the Gamecocks to win, both Jackpot and I both. And making my dog move. She's over there trying to get in the trash can like an idiot. Anyway, so Notre Dame doesn't win any games when it comes to January. And it looks like with Shane Beamer, I guess, pulling the trump card of having Spencer Rattler play, and then he's going to have his quarterback out there that was out there for them the majority of the season. It looks more and more like the Gamecocks should have the upper hand in this game, simply because I think Shane Beamer's pouring everything into this game to have his team as a 9-win team and help shake the transfer portal up a little bit. And, of course, with the guys that they're going to bring in tomorrow, they should be in the mix for a top 17, top 18 class, which is about average for South Carolina. But when you average in the rest of the players that are probably coming by the transfer portal, it's going to be interesting there for South Carolina. Randall says, I'm an LSU fan and Spencer is better than Jane Daniels, and it's not even close. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk that there were a lot of people that weren't on the Spencer Rattler train. I'll give you that. So I'm going to open up the phones too, by the way. And you guys can call into the program. 803-470-2905. It's going to take me a second here, but we will get the phone lines open. Here's the other thing too. Speaking of players in the transfer portal, the Kentucky Wildcats are sure as hell trying to finish, second in the SEC East, as they're getting Devin Leary from NC State. he's considered the number one quarterback in the transfer portal, and he's already made his decision that he is coming. He's coming to up there to Kentucky to play. So there's that. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Kentucky is struggling to win second, be in second place in the East. Alan says, is that a poinsettia hat? I think it's, let me ask, is this a poinsettia hat or is it just weird snowflakes, hon? What? Is this a poinsettia or is that just real weird snowflakes? On my hat. Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be poinsettias. There you go. Anyway, if you would like to support the program, the links are in the description there. Also, you can call the show right now, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Would love to have you chat a little bit about what we talked about here with South Carolina. Also, the stuff that we went over with I don't think that National Signing Day means as much anymore. And you know what? If you want your team to do well, here's the big thing with that. You need to embrace the transfer portal. You need to embrace the transfer portal. People don't want to hear that, but here's the big thing with that. If you don't, you're in trouble. Look what South Carolina did with a transfer quarterback. Jay says, Rob, is Karen your producer and life partner? Yeah, she is the life partner or life coach. Yeah, I don't think she produces the show, though. She doesn't know the difference between a basketball and a football, but she doesn't produce the show. She just kicks back and lets me take care of that. Brock says Leary is overrated, but will look elite behind that Kentucky offensive line. Elijah says, is Dabo doing better with that? No. That's why the Clemson program may be taking a step or two back. Simply because they're not using the transfer portal. And he's just one of those things. He's like I don't know why he won't jump in and do that. And he said he's going to take some transfers, but until I actually see, has anybody seen anything where Clemson's in the mix for any player that's not in the transfer, that's in the transfer portal? No. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to use, and if he does, it'll be, he used Hunter Johnson to get Hunter Johnson back in, to have like a third string quarterback. But as far as someone says, Randall says, what does Clemson's quarterback situation look like next season? Well, Klubnik's going to be the starter. And then after that, we shall see. We shall see. But as far as Dabo Swinney using the transfer portal, I'll believe it when I see it. Jackpot's Toilet says he hasn't seen Hunter Johnson on the sidelines. He got into the ACC championship game. Yeah, he did. He played in the last, 3 minutes of the ACC championship game? So there's that. What a mess that turned out into for North Carolina. Is there a bowl game tonight? I think there is. I got the bowl schedule in front of them. I don't normally, like, when I was doing these shows, I would have that in front of me. But Trey Smith, I can look up that in a minute. I think I read something about that time traveler. I'll look that up for you here. Hold on, let me see here. There is a bowl game tonight. Like, by the way, there are no bowl games that are worth a shit right now. All these games are like, they're good, but they're like it's not stuff you're going to write home about. All right. So here is, let's see here. Let's scroll back down. I hate the way that ESPN does their stuff here. It's like, it's so messed up. Jay is hung up with Dabo Swinney's brother. I don't get that. All right. So let's see here. I guess your bowl game is tomorrow. You got Eastern Michigan and San Jose State. San Jose State's a 3.5-point favorite, and Liberty and Toledo. in the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. What a mess that is. 3.5-point favorite is Toledo. By the way, I was reading about some of the quarterbacks that are out there. If your team's looking for a quarterback, Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, someone needs to give him a look. He's 6'1", 215, big guy. Was Sunbelt Player of the Year 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row. So, yeah, there's that. Oh, Daddy-O says the Tater Bowl's in 15 minutes. Yeah, I didn't see that on the mix there. Anyway, Grayson McCall is out there, and there's talk that he was going to take a visit to Auburn, but he didn't do it. I read that he didn't take a visit there, Stephen A. Maybe I'm wrong on that. There's also talks that he may go to Liberty to play for Jamie Chadwell, who he was playing with before. And I feel bad for Chadwell because, to be honest, he should have gotten looks at some bigger programs. I don't know what happened on that front. And you never know what happened behind the scenes. A lot of times, I was talking with someone about this not too long ago. A guy can put everything together on the field and be a shitty interview. That's what they said was bad about Billy Napier down at who's now down at Florida. But there was talk that he was just a shitty interview and didn't do well with that kind of thing. So, yeah, there's that. All right, phone lines are open at 803-470-2905. If you would like to join the program this afternoon, it's afternoon now. Tomorrow we will talk about what is it we're going to talk about tomorrow? We'll do a little something tomorrow on National Signing Day. Yeah, Time Traveler's right. He's making $4 million a year at Liberty. I get that. You're going to make that much money. Why not? All right, 803-470-2905. We'll take your comments over there. Rob has an SEC bias, says everything I'm seeing as the Gamecocks having a very strong signing day coming up. How do you think the class will pan out for Beamer? Well, I'll give Beamer credit for this. You don't know how those guys are going to do until, and I've said this before and people get upset about it, but you don't know how great that's going to be until they actually get out on the field and do something, right? Until they actually get out there and they're actually playing against guys that are their own size. Okay? But I will give Beamer credit for this. Every spot that he recruited are spots that the Gamecocks had a weakness in. It's like he went down a checklist and was smart about it and said, okay, we need this, and this. And let's get our board together and figure out who we can get and go from there. So there's that. As far as them panning out, once again, we shall see. Remember, DeCarrion Joyner is a great example of this. If you watched him play at Fort Dorchester, he looked like Charlie Ward. There's an old school reference. So, yeah, there's that. All right, let's go to the phones. Oh, this should be good. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey!
Are you done?
Yeah, that is fucking great.
Oh, goodness. All right. Jay says, I'd be happy seeing both Big Ten teams in the playoff getting smashed. Their only point of reference to being good is Penn State beating a crappy Auburn team. That's funny, too, when you really stop and think about it. Look, there was a couple other things I wanted to get into, and that was actually one of them. The folks that ride the SEC bandwagon, you may have some games this year that may end up like the Florida game where Oregon State smashed their face. So with that, I wonder how the SEC folks are going to handle that this year. I think in the playoff, it won't matter. But after that, And it's going to get to a point where that doesn't matter either anymore down the line, because I think we're going to have the 4 super conference things. So look at all these Kentucky fans coming in. I thought you guys were still beating Calipari's door down. Bluegrass Sports Media hasn't been on this show in 2 months. And he says, Kentucky got Design Leary. What? What are you talking about? Big Barney Ross has been here. He says Kentucky will have Dennis Leary as their quarterback in 2023. Brock with a good point here. I thought his recruiting was genius because he recruited linemen and linebackers and plans on getting skill players, specifically wide receivers, through the transfer portal. Yeah. Got to give Beamer credit for that. Hold on, I got to plug up my computer. Apparently I unplugged it earlier. All right, anyway. Someone else was talking about Mike Leach, the quarterback, the former coach at Mississippi State. Man, he was great. Jay says 4 super conferences. So they finally moved the ACC to the conference, the group of 5 like they deserve. No, Jay. Pull the SEC penis from your mouth and pay attention. 4 super conferences, probably 30 teams in a conference. I think that's how it's going to end up going. So there's that. Papa B says Mississippi State's first-year coach is now 11-0. Well, good for him. Welcome to the program. Good evening or afternoon.
What's up? What's up, Rob? How you doing?
Hey, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I just had a quick question. I was looking down the Clemson game log, actually, and I was noticing every team that, was halfway decent at offense was able to put up minimum 20 points throughout the year. Do you think Venables leaving has anything to do with that, or do you think just the other offenses in the ACC are starting to get better with how to attack the defense?
I think that I didn't hang up on him. I don't know what happened there, but I think that losing Venables was something that hindered the Clemson defense this season. Not that Coach Goodwin's not a good coach. It's just that, Brent Venables was a world-class defensive coordinator. And after the season he had at Oklahoma, he'd much rather be back on the Clemson sideline. I assure you of that. Big Barney Ross says, I'm pretty sure Georgia will put to rest the SEC band on the wagon. I didn't hang up on that guy, Papa B. Sorry. I don't know what happened with all that. Anyway, phone lines are open at 803-470-2905. We'll take a couple more calls before we get out of here. But, when you look at Mike Leach's career, and I went down the Google rabbit hole and was looking at some of the stuff about him the other day. If you are a fan of wide open offenses, if you're a fan of Tennessee, you should thank Mike Leach. Essentially, his offense is what they do at Tennessee, basically. So, yeah, there's that. Bob says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Bob. Look, there's a Christmas tree behind you. It's got a gnome on the top of it. So the wife's wearing a Christmas sweater today, it looks like. Or could be just a red sweater, but it looks festive. All right, 803-470-2905. Yeah, Daddy-O is correct. The basketball sky is fall. Have they won a game yet? I know they started like 0-7 or some ridiculous number. And then let's look at how many games has Louisville won? You guys remember back in the day when it was like Louisville was outstanding? Now it's like, yeah, not so much. Not so much. Let's see here. Standings. Let's see where Louisville is. I think Louisville is I think they started like Big Barney Ross knows their record off the rip. Louisville is 2-9 overall. They're 2-9 overall. Funny. Kirby's visor asked if I got fired again. No, I get the last 2 weeks of the year off, man. Lee asked if I was going to do a show tomorrow at 3. I might do a show for National Signing Day. So there's that. Jay says he likes the women's Christmas sweaters that have the one lonely boob hanging out. What the fuck are you talking about? That's funny. Anyway, 803-470-2905 if you'd like to join the program. I just thought I would do a couple shows here. Jay says I should Google it. That's funny. I want that in my Google search history. Christmas sweater with one boob hanging out. That's what you want. Explain that one to the wife. Hey, I was just looking at the Christmas sweater they were talking about on the show. Okay, Rob, whatever. SEC Dog wants to know if I'll do a Dabo Portal show. But no thanks. Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, so the SEC Bowl or the Potato Bowl is here shortly. Yeah, the Potato Bowl is like 3:30 and there's games tomorrow. So Rob has an SEC bias. Says, what do you think of Beamer's coordinators getting raised? Well, his contract hasn't been adjusted yet this year. I've said this just from a revenue standpoint. Okay. Shane Beamer has, and I think that's why he's big on this game too. He doesn't make, I think he's like I can't remember where he's at. I mean, he's like number 11 or 12 in the SEC as far as coaching goes. So, yeah, I think they gave him his stuff or they gave the coordinators theirs first. And Limbo, by the way, getting an extension. I mean, that guy was worth 2 wins this year. I mean, the raise that he got moved the Gamecocks up from 6-6 to 8-4, which puts them in a bowl game where they get, I think it's a $5 million payout as opposed to a $2 million payout if they would have went to one of the shit bowls. So there's that. Stephen A has a good point. I'm concerned about a vocal portion of our fan base is going to send Beamer to Virginia Tech. Yes. And here's the reason that not necessarily Virginia Tech, he may go somewhere else. So here's the thing with that though. As Jay just sent me a message in Twitter, I'm sure this is the titty sweater. Let's see here. Holy shit. That's pretty funny. But no, as far as one thing we learned about Shane Beamer is that Beamer follows Twitter. He knows what the Gamecock fan base is spewing out there. So I don't know. And he gets kind of sensitive about some of it, but I don't know, man. What a mess. All right, 803-470-2905. He may end up sending if people get pissed off enough. But I think that the contracts, they'll balance out and he'll get I think he'll get a pretty substantial raise, especially if they go 9-4. So, which by the way, at the end of nobody really thought South Carolina was going 9-4 this year, if they can go that far. But I'm not saying he gets a little bit perturbed, but I do think that he reads Twitter, and I do think that there are folks from the Gamecock Twitter base that are they say some far out shit. But that's all fan bases though. So there's that. All right, final call for calls this afternoon, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. I'll try to drop in tomorrow and do a show. Yeah, Papa B says nobody thought Vandy was winning 2 SEC games either. Yeah, that's true. We can go back and look at some of the stuff that we said throughout the year that just didn't happen. I think the one thing that we had that we were right about was Auburn. I think everybody thought Auburn was going to be a shithole, and they turned out to be a shithole. There's that. I think we all missed on Alabama. I think that was out there too. Let's go back out to the phone. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, I don't know if Big Barney Ross has called in yet, but have you talked about Devin Leary to Kentucky yet?
We did, and he said it was Dennis Leary, so I got confused. He hasn't called yet, though.
Well, I think I'm not gonna lie. I think that could make Kentucky a pretty decent contender coming up this year. I mean, they're not going to be on Georgia's level, obviously, but I mean, we could see them definitely knock out, depending on who's on their schedule, some kind of powerhouse, just based off having a competent quarterback.
They're working really hard to finish second in the East, so.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, take it easy, Rob. Love the show.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Bye.
All right, bye. Anyway, Jay says Vandy has regrets for slapping Florida around. That's funny too. Funny. All right, 803-470-2905. Brock said he thought South Carolina would beat Tennessee before the season started, and that ended up happening. You may have put that out there. Jackpot was on board with that at the beginning of the season. He thought they were a shithole from the start. So they ended up winning some games, though. They had a good season. So there's that. But as far as programs in transition, Florida's one of them right now. They're not looking too good. Oof. Man, that stuff from whatever the hell bowl they played against Oregon State was just terrible. But I didn't think Tennessee would go 10-2. I really didn't. I thought the ceiling for them was 8 or 9 wins at most, and they kind of wiped my nose with that. Then again, I also thought Missouri would do a little bit better, even though I thought they'd finish with 7 wins. They got 6. I guess I didn't really miss too far there. But I thought Kentucky would be a little bit better than they were. I thought they would use the combination of their quarterback Levis and Rodriguez, and they would do better than they did, but they just looked inept at times. And then Ole Miss was interesting too, the way that they finished out the year. I mean, we thought they were going to be right there in the mix, and then all of a sudden they were the shits. It's like they turn it. It's like November is like after midnight for them with Cinderella. They fall flat pretty much every year, it seems like. And that's something Lane Kiffin's going to have to fix. All right, well, Jay says Dennis Leary stand up. Well, yeah, the one where he says it's always the smokers that find the healthy early morning joggers dead in the park. Yeah, Dennis Leary, like Locked and Loaded was one of those albums that had some really, really good stuff. The Texas-Washington game, I don't know how much Texas wants to be there. Washington, it seems like they're trying to the Pac-12, by the way, they're just getting to a point now where they have like this huge chip on their shoulder. Like we have to put our relevance out there. And I think that's kind of what happened with Oregon State. And I think that may happen with Washington there too. Brandon Kuhn says he thinks South Carolina's going to have a good day tomorrow on signing day. 5-star athlete Nichols Harbor will be their top signee. And I think they'll flip 4-star quarterback Lenoris Sellers from Syracuse. Okay. I mean, the problem with that is that your 17th or 18th is where you're going to finish up. What's going to be important is the transfers that the Gamecocks get into the program. And by transfers, I mean offensive linemen and linebackers, because that's going to be the big area of concern for them, and receiver too. So Clemson may have a laundry list. By the way, Clemson signed 25 players. So, yeah, there's that. That's a big class for Clemson. Normally they signed 20 to 22. They got 25, which tells me more than likely Dabo Swinney is not using the transfer portal. Papa B says 1 week we're talking about Kiffin to Auburn, and the next week Mike Leach was dead. You just never know. Brandon says, is it possible that Sunbelt Billy is as good of a coach, as good of an interview as he is a head coach? We'll just leave that there, sir. Leave that there. Chris Foster says there's always a claim that the offense will get figured out, but unless you have the best defense since the 01 Canes, you're not holding them under 34. Really? Really? Bless your heart, Chris. Bless your sweet little heart. I don't even know where to go with that. Holding them under 34. Okay. I'd be stunned if they scored 35 points against Clemson. Stephen A with a good point. Do you don't need to when you score 63 numbnuts? Very good. Lee wants to know if I wear sleeves outside. Yes. I'm going down to I'm going to do trivia at Callaway's later, and I'll be wearing a sweater because it's cold as balls outside. Papa B likes the thumbnail I put up today. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Babes and Waves wants to know, what am I drinking on? Well, a fine Sprite Zero. Because I am a fat ass. I'm trying to slim down a little bit. So I'm gonna drink some Sprite Zero instead of some other stuff. Chris again failing. Scoring more than 34 happens a lot more than allowing 63. Okay. Bless your heart. Let me guess. Hendon Hooker should have won the Heisman, right? Yeah. I can't tell with some of these Tennessee folks if they're serious with this stuff or they're just joking. I mean, I really don't know where to go. Jay with a valid question. What do you do with all the sleeves you cut off? Do you make jackets for the hairless gerbils? They are not hairless gerbils, sir. They're hairless guinea pigs. They're sitting over here in the cage about 5 feet from me. So there's that. And these are just standard undershirts, man. Guys wear undershirts, right? So I think that Chris, by the way, is he's just being sarcastic over in the chat. There's no way that any football fan could be that stupid. You want to see the hairless guinea pig? Is that what you're telling me? I might bring them out for the show on Wednesday. So stand by for that. I got to go over there and grab it and everything. I'll do it on Wednesday. I'll get the wife to help me. She'll hand me one of them. We got two. We got Copper Pig and Nami Pig. That's what they are. They're hairless guinea pigs. And good point, Lee. Don't let the dog out. Yeah, guinea pig homicide. That shit's happened. I've told you guys about that. So, yeah, that we have to put the dogs outside when the guinea pigs are out and roaming around. But yeah, maybe we'll bring out the guinea pigs or one of them for tomorrow's show. Nami Pig, every time I pick Nami up, like she wants to piss on me. What the hell her problem is? I guess when you're this big, you're like 18 times bigger than they are. They're like, oh my God, it's Godzilla. Stephen A says he can't picture a hairless guinea pig. We're talking about hairless guinea pigs, and Chris is still spewing about Tennessee. I'm not the one claiming an offense that. What was it he said? He said, I'm not the one claiming an offense that's been top 7 or better the last 5 years is something everyone will figure out. There is ways to figure it out. Just takes time, buddy. Just takes time. Look, the same people said the same shit about Steve Spurrier and the fun and gun offense down in Florida. Then everybody started doing bits and pieces of it, and then people started figuring it out. You are not special. You are a gimmick. We've been over this. Daddy-O says, is guinea pig bacon good? We're not cooking the guinea pigs. Battle Angel says, why did you get hairless ones? Because they're unique and different, and that's what the wife wanted. Pretty much what it boils down to. We had guinea pigs with hair at one point, but now we have these hairless ones. They're chunky little bitches too. All right. Pastor Dave says, good morning. No, they're not scared because they're just big. They're just big. Chris says Spurrier left for the NFL before anyone figured it out. Well, when he came back, what kind of offense did he run at South Carolina? It wasn't the fun and gun. I assure you of that. It was give the ball to Lattimore 30 times a game. That's what it was. They didn't have like this great passing offense. They were efficient, but they wanted to run the ball. And it'll be the same thing with Heupel. 5 years from now, Heupel's probably not even going to be at Tennessee. He'll probably be like the last couple of coaches that were there that were cheaters, had to have sanctions put against them. Couple of great seasons that I guess you guys will have to pull down we almost won the SEC East banner for 2022. NCAA will make you take that, roll it up, and put it in like they did with the Fab Five. So, yeah, there's that. That's probably what's going to happen. You beat Clemson in the bowl game this year. We beat Clemson. That's going to have to come down. I mean, all these banners you guys are having up there, it's going to be problems. I mean, we do know that Tennessee can cheat. We know that. It's been out there. Nature Boy says you're breaking hillbilly hearts with that prediction. Just saying, look, they have to show that they're better than that. I was a big Jeremy Pruitt guy. Remember Jeremy Pruitt? I thought Pruitt was going to be great. So, Stephen A. with a good point here. He Googled a hairless guinea pig. Nightmares incoming, kind of like a mini hippo. That's what they are. They're mini hippos. They almost look like the hippos on the Hungry Hungry Hippos game. Remember that when we were kids? I should get my kids one of those for Christmas. They'd be like, what the hell? They might like that game. Then again, they may not. Oh, goodness. And score. They Pruitt and Heupel are polar opposites. Yes, but they do have one thing in common. They are at Tennessee, the most sanctioned SEC program in the past 20 years. They are still there. So there's that. All right. I'll chat with you guys later on. Appreciate you guys checking us out. If you'd like to support the show, there's the link in the comment section there. We'll talk to you guys later on.